You're listening to Thrive, your agency resource, the only podcast of its kind for creative, media, and technology leaders who are ready to dive deeper into consciousness, leadership, and agency growth. I'm your host, Kelly Campbell. This year, Thrive is brought to you by E2M Solutions, a trusted white label partner to hundreds of digital agencies across the globe. Visit e2msolutions.com/thrive today. Welcome to the first episode of Thrive for 2023. I hope that your new year is off to a spectacular start. This year, I'm bringing you content and conversations that will definitely get you thinking in a whole new way. Today, I'm joined by Khushbu Doshi, who is VP of Global Sales and Customer Service at E2M Solutions, which is a white label partner to digital agencies and also sponsor of the podcast for this year. Khushbu, thank you so much for joining me. A warm welcome to Thrive.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me and excited to speak with you. First of all, a very happy and a wonderful year to all the listeners, and I wish nothing but the best for all of you this new year, and excited to have a talk with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So being that E2M is a white label solution, one of the things that I found really fascinating was the idea that the solution, if you will, has this really great customer success and account management team, right? Very rare for a white label agency to do that. So why is it so important for these account management and project management teams to be sort of working side by side? Why is that so different and so important at E2M?
So I feel, the project managers are capable of dealing with more when it comes to technicalities, but when it comes to understanding the client's requirement, understanding what their expectations are and making sure that they are being fulfilled, I feel having account managers working with the project managers makes it a win-win, where we are not just taking care of the implementation or the execution part, but we are also taking care of their expectations. We are helping them with kind of understanding how this could be done better. We are helping them with kind of managing everything. So I feel that a client account manager and a project manager in combination works very well when it comes to execution, but executing it with efficiency and making sure that the client is really happy about it.
Yeah. And what is so different about this in particular? We kind of think about this as, yes, we understand this from the agency standpoint, the one who are delivering directly and working directly with the clients. But as a white label agency, that's really, really different. And so this was implemented, what you said, about 3 years ago?
Yes. So I started this approximately 3 years back, where I was the one who started with the client account management. So I used to make sure is whatever we are committing in sales, I will make sure that we are delivering not just the same, but more than what these people have committed to the clients. A team of people who are looking after client account managers. But why specifically for, I would say, agencies is just like how doctors have a kind of, I would say, a list of all the things that the patient has, maybe any symptoms or any allergies or anything of that sort. So next time when the patient comes, you already know what they have been through or what their kind of allergies are. The same way, the client account managers has the documentation of agency that, okay, this agency works in a specific tech stack. These are the processes that they are very kind of aware about. These are the things that we need to keep in mind when we interact with them. And these are the things that will make them happy. So it's kind of, they are the ones who will be taking care of the clients on the organization's behalf. So even if the project manager changes, or even if there is a change in the development team, they kind of make sure that the client's experience is same with us. They don't feel that something in the backend has changed, because it's the client account manager's job to make the customer feel more comfortable, have to kind of, they should trust us more rather than thinking that, okay, if my developer has changed, things are going to go haywire. But it's not going to be like that, because the client account manager knows what kind of projects you give, what kind of specifications you have. So it becomes seamless for you.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because what I hear you saying sort of underneath all of that is that the client account managers and also the project managers, but mostly the client account managers, are sort of empathetic and really, really listening to understand what's most important to the agency, right?
Yeah.
I think that is one of the most critical components of all of this, and also probably speaks to the culture and the values at E2M, which, was one of the big drivers of why I was really excited about the partnership. So can you just speak to maybe just that little piece of empathy for a moment? Because I don't think we think about empathy in terms of client services, right?
Yeah, so we have come into an era of automation where everything is happening by AI and there's no human touch to it. But when it comes to retaining your clients, making them feel like you are a part of their journey, this thing is important. So basically, let's say, you are in a project deadline and there are more resources to be needed. In those cases, they take a decision that, okay, I understand that the client is on a side where they have to deliver something to the client and they've already committed it. Then we might have to stretch our days and complete it because we are putting the client in a bad spot. So understanding those kind of sensitive situations, taking the decisions on those kind of sensitive situations, and then making the agency feel very relieved. Okay, I would feel relieved when I have an account manager or project manager like this who is thinking everything on my behalf. And I would never be able to be in a situation where I have to answer very tough questions to my client because I know I have someone who I can rely on.
Right, right. And so what does all of this look like 3 years later? What kind of results have you been seeing through some of the retention surveys and the net promoter scores and things like that?
Yes. So we just recently ran an NPS score because the year is ending. So we had a 90% above retention score and the 90% above NPS score. So what is happening is, I would say, clients are feeling more attentive. They feel more valued. They feel more listened when they know that, okay, I have a person who is dedicatedly seeing what I want from my team. So it's not just about, I am giving you the work, you are getting it executed and you're giving an update to me. Instead, it is like you are listening to me. You are coming up with things that might help me in growing my business. You are coming up with things like, okay, I might share you some information which you can use in your next meeting to the client. So it's kind of, they are acting as your person where you feel that, okay, I have someone within that development team who is working on my behalf and who is seeing things on my behalf. So I feel that has spiked the retention ratio where I would say we are human beings. So at the end of the day, there are times when mistakes might happen, but they kind of ignore those mistakes because they know that, okay, they didn't come from a negligence or they didn't come from ignorance. We had paid full attention, but it was just some human error that might have happened. So retention ratio has, I would say, spiked up like anything. And in last 1 year, as I said, that we had more than 90% of retention ratio just because we have an excellent client service in the account management team.
Hey, let's take a quick break. Did you know that there's a better way to scale your agency? Whether it's web design, development, e-commerce, content, SEO, or even hosting, E2M is the reliable white label partner you wish you knew about years ago. Personally, I'm proud to partner with E2M because of our alignment in values and ethics. Head over to e2msolutions.com/thrive to learn more. Now, let's get back to the show. And so client services teams, I should say, ideally work with business development teams or sales teams, right, within agencies. That doesn't sound like it's any different in terms of E2M, but from your clients, from the digital agency side, how would you say that they kind of work together to determine what makes sense as a next step when their clients are ready to engage for additional services?
Right. So when we onboard new client, we kind of make sure that I pass on the sales call recording to the account manager who is dedicated to that account. So they kind of can hear what the pain points of the agencies are, what kind of solutions we are providing to them, and what kind of commitments have been made. So there looks like there is a synergy between the sales team and the account team because they exactly know what conversations have been made. So they will make sure that we deliver best, even more than what we have already committed. So I feel that this, I would say, a correlation between the sales team and the account management team works really well because the client doesn't feel that, okay, I had communicated with the sales team, but I'm not sure if you're aware about it. Right. But they are, okay, we have gone through the recording. We know exactly what conversations have been made and we are on top of it. So they feel that, okay, you had taken the time to listen to the recording, to listen to the conversation, make your notes, and then come prepared that, okay, hey, I'm your person within the team and I'm going to be with you while you're, you're working with the team. So I think that synergy works very well.
I think that's a fantastic note. And those of you who are watching and listening, if you are not currently recording either video or audio, recording your sales conversations from discovery all the way through contract closing, if you're not doing that and then passing it off to your account services team, even your project managers, I might even say, right? So that everybody across the spectrum is totally in sync and understands what has been communicated, what the style of communication has been, what's been committed, all of the things that Khushbu just mentioned. If you're not doing that already, maybe it's the very beginning of the year, maybe you do that and you make that a commitment and really, honor that this year, because so much will absolutely change in terms of that handoff, in terms of the client success factor, and even in terms of the retention. I think when you start any relationship, the more that you're on the same page and the more that the client doesn't feel like, oh, I've got to repeat the same thing to 3 different people in the organization, right out of the gate, you're coming across as, we are really streamlined here and we're all on the same page and we communicate well, and we're going to do that, going forward in the relationship. So that's a great note. Thank you for mentioning that. And one of the other things that was so interesting the last time that we spoke, you implemented this. I think it's actually kind of fascinating, and I would love for you to talk a little bit more about it. But you implemented these kind of like custom company updates that you send to clients. And this is another note. As you're talking, I want the audience to think about this and about doing it for themselves as well. But these custom company updates and how they kind of help with cross-selling and allowing clients to feel like they're part of the organization's growth. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I just started this 1 year back where I write like custom company updates and I send it to all the digital agencies that we are engaged with. Now, you might have engaged with us for, let's say, for a web work, but you don't know that we excel in the content division, we excel in the SEO part, we excel in the e-commerce part. So it's kind of making them feel inclusive about the growth. So when we started back in January 2022, we were a team of 100 people, but now in January 2023, we are a team of, I would say, 180 people. So during that growth, you want the agencies that are related to you feel that you are growing, the pace that you are growing with, what are the new advancements you are doing, how you are coming ahead of the industry, what are the research that you are doing, how many projects you have done, what are the projects that has won the awards, what are the exceptional or unique things that you have done. In terms of websites, how many websites you have deployed, what are the new challenges you faced and you overcome those challenges. So having those stats written at the end of the month, giving them just a recap about how December was for E2M, what events we did, how many new members we onboarded, how many new clients we onboarded, and what are the list of things that we'll be working in January, and kind of some exceptional studies that any of the team might have come up with. So these kind of updates, I feel clients are loving it. The digital agencies feel that, okay, you guys are growing really nice. We see that you guys have added too many employees. Your new office looks really great, and all kind of those comments. So it's kind of, they feel inclusive of the growth. So it's like they just don't see it on LinkedIn that, okay, E2M is doing really good, but they get these kind of monthly updates where they feel that, okay, I'm a part of this journey. I know exactly how they are doing, what the stats look like, what the numbers are at the end of the month. And I feel it has been working really well for cross-selling as well. So you came up for web, but you didn't know we do content, we do e-commerce, we do SEO. But now when I'm mentioning the success stats of those services, you might end up asking me that, okay, how about I have this e-commerce thing, which I want to discuss with. So if I might have not mentioned that in the company status update, then, you might have never known that we are good in e-commerce or SEO or content. So I feel there's a good win-win when it comes to cross-selling. And then we also want to share our success with them. We want to kind of make them feel inclusive of what we are doing and how we are doing things. Yeah. So that's working really well.
So I want to make the distinction here. We're not talking about a spray and pray newsletter that you send to every single person on your contact list, right? You're not talking about your existing clients, your partners, your associates. This is not a blanket email campaign. This is a custom update for each of the clients on your list and kind of giving them pertinent information, yes, about your company, but mostly what you're doing is you're sort of including them in the growth, as you said, but also demonstrating the success in other areas specifically that they are not using you in, right? Or not
That's right.
leveraging your agency for. So
Right.
that's where the customization comes in. Obviously, you can also personalize it extremely well because you're writing it literally for them. And I'm imagining that you're using some efficiency in there where, maybe blocks of content about a particular award or some of the stats, those are going to cross over across multiple of these company updates. But the idea that it's custom, right? And at your
Yeah.
agency, if you're listening or watching this, like you shouldn't have 200 clients, right? Like this should be something that would be feasible and pretty easily done. Someone who's handling your business development, maybe this is even something that the account managers do at your organization. You can put it on someone within the agency to do this. But I think it's a great idea. It's not one that I've really thought of before because I was always thinking about kind of newsletters broadly.
Yeah,
Custom company updates seem like they would be pretty incredible. And also solidifying the partnership, right? Because
exactly.
you
Yeah.
are really embedded in their organization, and now they're getting the chance to kind of like reciprocally live vicariously through that growth for you as well. And that's partnership, right? Like you're supporting one another.
Yeah. And I think that has increased the trust level as well because
Mm.
they know exactly how we have been growing and what we have been doing and how the team is, doing different things. So that increases naturally the trust they have on the team to do different things. So they don't hesitate on bringing new work or complex work for the team because they know in the back of their minds that, okay, my development team or my white label team should be able to do it. And, they just bring it without having any hesitation.
Yeah, well, that's great. So I guess my last question is talking about the point of contact for clients, right? So we know that project managers have a role, very,
Yeah.
sort of like tightly defined role. And then we have client account managers and they have a role, maybe not as tightly defined sometimes. But what do agencies need to keep in mind when they're thinking about the point of contact in situations where an existing client is looking to, let's say, engage for a different service or something along those lines? What do we need to keep in mind in terms of the point of contact? Who are referrals made to, for example?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. Now, there's always a confusion as to who we should reach out to when we want to upscale or when we want to use any of the services. So that's the reason we have client account managers in place. So they kind of have that rapport with the agencies where they know exactly what the need is, what kind of cross-selling is required in terms of if they are looking for any other services or not.
Right.
And in terms of referrals as well, because the account managers work very closely with the digital agencies to gauge what kind of volume they have, what kind of websites they'll be working with. So they are in constant communication with them to understand the type of the work and the efficiency of the work with the team. So kind of they are the ones that the referrals will be sent to, and then they take the referrals from there. So it's kind of, not dodging it, like giving it to one person, that one person gives to other person, and then the whole process takes it.
Right.
Other than that, it's like, the project managers are just for the technical stuff, like the development part. But apart from that, everything else is being handled by account manager, be it cross-selling, upselling, renewals, upgrades, downgrades, pausing the plans, speaking with their end clients, handling the referrals, and everything is being handled by the account managers.
Yeah.
So the agencies don't basically get confused as to whom I should reach out to. They directly reach out to the account managers for that.
Right. Okay. So I think that's just a great point. This is all about clarity of communication and knowing who do you go to, who do you make introductions to, who do you make referrals to, when it comes to your clients or other people making referrals to your agency, right? Just having that one person who's like, this is, in this case, like at E2M, like, Khushbu, you are the one, right? So when I'm making a referral for an agency to work with E2M, I'm making that introduction between that client or that agency owner and you, right? And I think just getting clear on inside of your own organization, who is that go to? Is it the CEO? Is it not the CEO? Is it the head of business development? Is it the head of client success or account management, right? So just getting clear on that and then communicating that to everyone else so that everyone is very clear on that. You could communicate that on your LinkedIn channel. You can communicate that in your email signatures, right? On your website for sure. Who is the person who I should be referring new business? So love that. I love that clarity that you have.
Yeah.
Well, Khushbu, thank you so much. I really, really appreciated this conversation, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the year with E2M. Happy New Year, everyone. And Khushbu, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
And thank you for joining us. If you liked this episode, please rate the show or subscribe wherever you watch or listen. And a big thank you to the official sponsor of Thrive for this year, E2M Solutions, your white label agency partner. Learn more about their approach, services, and subscription plans at e2msolutions.com/thrive.